And we're live. Hello, Jana.
Hi, great to be here.
Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate you making the time. I know things were a little complicated on your end today, but you made the time. We're going to talk about what you guys are doing down the Amazon. As I mentioned to you, Soltara is raising some money for the Amazon. It's been pretty salient in the world news cycle in the past while. Of course, we have a long-standing relationship with the Amazon, and it's really close to our hearts based on the work we do and the experience we have. So we've been well aware of a lot of this destruction for quite some time, but really these fires in the past month or so or a few weeks have really brought the concern for the Amazon to the forefront of the global news cycle, and I think to the awareness of society. Um, so yeah, we're taking some bolder action than normal to try to bring some resources to the organizations that are helping to protect the Amazon, this important ecosystem. Um, Although what ARC is doing, and I'll let you explain it, is a little different than what's going on with the forest fires. So why don't you introduce yourself and introduce ARC and let us know what you guys are up to.
Sure. So Amazon Rainforest Conservancy, or ARC for short, is a registered Canadian charity that I founded in 2014 after seeing firsthand the destruction occurring in the Amazon rainforest. Um, I visited the area of Tambopata, and I saw firsthand acres and acres of trees chopped down. I saw illegal gold mining camps that were popping up everywhere and that were essentially changing the rainforest into a desert landscape. I saw roads that were being built, slicing through previously remote and inaccessible areas. Uh, it was just devastating. So when I returned home to Canada, I just felt an overwhelming responsibility. I had to get involved and do something. And I searched for a Canadian organization doing conservation in the area that I had visited, which was, again, Tambopata, Peru. But I couldn't find one. So that is what propelled me to start one myself. And that was the beginning of ARC. And now, as I say, we're a registered Canadian charity, and we have a management team in both Canada and in Peru. And our team consists of conservation experts, of business professionals, of scientists. And we are all volunteers in Canada, and we all work out of our home. So that means we don't have the executive salaries and the overhead of some other conservation groups. And so we can direct all donations directly to protecting land in the Amazon rainforest.
Well, that's really amazing, and I commend you for taking such bold action. You know, you see something, a lot of us see things that disturb us, but don't necessarily um, go start an organization and start raising money to help the cause. So I commend you for that. I also want to thank you for what you're doing because it's very important. And you know, if it wasn't for the Amazon, we wouldn't have uh, our company, Soltara. You know, we work with indigenous traditions from the Amazon that have been cultivated over millennia. We work with plants from the Amazon that wouldn't be there if the Amazon was destroyed. So it's really meaningful, and we have a special extra bit of gratitude for you and for other organizations that are doing this work. So being that you are focused specifically on the Tambopata region of Peru, maybe you can describe what the actual problems are that are happening there.
Sure. I guess the interesting thing, this is one of the reasons that propelled me to start ARC, is when I was down there, I learned that just 50 years prior, Tambopata was a sparsely inhabited corner of the Amazon basin. It was unconnected to the rest of the world by roads. And then two things happened in the last decade which changed this area forever. And the first one was the building of the Interoceanic Highway. And this was financed by the Brazilian government. And basically it connects the Atlantic port in Brazil to the Pacific port in Peru. And it allows Brazil to transport their goods in an easier manner to India and China. Now this is, I think it's about 2,575 kilometer highway, and it goes right through the Amazon rainforest. It slices right through Tambopata and through areas that were previously remote and inaccessible. And it's opened up the whole area. People began flooding the area when it was finished in 2011. They came from Brazil and the highlands, the Andes of Peru. They just flooded the area to exploit the natural resources. And of course, the highway has sprouted a whole network of secondary roads. The other event that changed this area forever was that the price of gold really spiked. And gold in the form of gold dust can be found here. So there's a massive increase in gold mining in this area. In fact, the government estimates there's probably about 40,000 illegal miners in Tambopata. And Tambopata is about the same size of, say, Vancouver Island here in Canada. And the damage they are doing is huge. It's so drastic that it can actually be seen from space.
Wow. Well, it can certainly be seen from airplanes. I have flown over that area a number of times, and it's been actually a few years since I've done that. So I can only imagine how it's grown. It looks like a tumor on the rainforest. And I mean, metaphorically, it's not that much different, really. You know, it's just, so you've got these illegal gold miners who are coming in. First, what they do is cut down the forest.
Yep, clear the forest. And then, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you, you know, do they cut the forest, and then you're probably a little more familiar with the process than I am?
Yes, because the impact from the gold miners extends beyond just the forest clearing, as you mentioned. Their use of mercury is poisoning the rivers and the people of the area. Mercury is illegal in most countries because it is so harmful to both human health and the environment. But it's used in Peru because it's the easiest and it's the fastest way to extract the gold dust from the sediments in the earth. And it's estimated 30 to 40 tons of mercury is dumped back into the rivers here. It accumulates in the tissue of the fish, and fish is the main food source here. So essentially, everyone is being poisoned. And scientists have gone down and measured mercury levels, not only of the gold miners who have direct contact with the mercury, but also to people who live in the region, and their mercury levels are sky high, way above what the World Health Organization deems as normal. So essentially the people are being poisoned because mercury causes severe damage to the brain, to the central nervous system, to major organs. It's especially toxic to children. So it's a really scary situation. And I asked some of the gold miners down there, were they concerned about their health using mercury? And they said to me, we heard that mercury is supposed to be deadly and kills people, but we don't really believe it, because they're very hesitant to believe anything that a foreigner tells them. So yeah, it's a huge problem, huge problem.
So you've got this massive problem, which is an environmental disaster. It is destroying the natural heritage of Peru and of the world. It's polluting the ecosystems and the rivers, which pollutes the food chain, and that moves its way up into the population. So there has to be some government pushback, is there not? Or is this just, is there corruption between the gold mining industry and the government? or the local officials, or because that's often the case in some of those places. Or is it that the gold miners have taken forceful control of these areas, that they're resisting with weapons or with violence? Or what is, like, how can this continue to happen in Peru if it's causing so much damage? Why are the authorities not taking charge of this?
You said the key word, corruption. Money talks, and so a lot of the politicians are actually gold miners, or they're profiting off of gold mining. So the political will is not there. And even for the people, say the policemen who are supposed to be guarding certain areas to make sure the gold miners don't come in, basically the gold miners are armed and dangerous, and they basically say, let us in, and here's some gold so you can shut up, or we'll kill you. So it's a very difficult situation because there are so many miners and they are armed and dangerous, and say in an area where there's 40,000 illegal gold miners, there's perhaps only 400 policemen, so they're absolutely outnumbered. And the key point too is a lot of the miners are these very criminal people, but some of them are just trying to make some money to feed their families. I mean, artisanal gold mining has been a way of life in the Amazon for many years. The problem now is just the amount of people doing it, and the lack of legitimate jobs.
Wow, seems like a very complicated problem.
Yes.
We're just inundated with complicated problems at this point in history.
We are. But I still have hope.
So the drivers of this are obviously economic, purely
Mm-hmm.
economic.
Yes. Yep. We need more sustainable jobs, but I guess our whole economic system needs to change, because our current economic system is focused primarily on economic growth, and it doesn't take into consideration social and environmental objectives. So, more people could decrease the amount of meat they eat, and we can all buy recycled paper. But in the end, the system needs to change.
I totally agree, and that's kind of a scary thought too, because it means we're going to get shaken up a little bit.
Absolutely.
I can't help but feel like, like we're standing on ice, and you just slowly seeing these cracks forming in the ice from all these different directions, and it's kind of scary. But ultimately, maybe that's where we need to go in order to be a sustainable culture.
I think, we need to take action now while there is still time, and there is, but we need to take action not only as individuals, but as corporations and governments. So we need governments to stop allowing and funding systems that destroy the Amazon rainforest, and also fund mechanisms that support conservation of the Amazon. We need businesses to look at their products, their supply chains, to make sure they're not environmentally harmful. So yeah, there's some big changes that need to be made, that's for sure.
And if the destruction in the Tambopata region is primarily due to gold mining, is there any way to determine whether the gold you're buying is from the Amazon, or does that just make it to the market and just gets distributed along with like gold from all other parts of the world?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question, and one that I've been really interested in researching myself, if there is any sustainable gold out there. And the problem right now with with the wood that's coming into North America or the gold, it can have fake papers that say it is sustainable when in fact it's not. So it's going to be something that we really need to investigate and find out where is the source that it's coming from. What I say to people now is, if you want some gold jewelry, melt down what you have and make a new ring, because we all have, lots of jewelry just sitting in our drawers that we don't wear. Or, there's pawn shops with all sorts of estate jewelry. And again, if you don't like the design, you can just melt it down, have the jeweler recreate the design. So we just need to start thinking a little bit differently than just going to the store and buying new all the time.
Yeah, or start mining asteroids. That might be in our distant future, or maybe not so distant. But you'd think if there's a universe full of asteroids that have gold and titanium and iron and all this stuff, why would we take down our forest? But of course, that's not on the near horizon, anyways. So. Okay, so what is ARC doing to work against this process of destruction?
So I guess our main objective is to acquire land and protect it, to keep it out of the hands of the loggers and the gold miners and the slash and burn farmers. So we currently have 3,500 acres of land in our care. And we are fundraising now to increase this land holding. We are in talks with 3 direct neighbors who are willing to sell their land to ARC. So that's great news. Protection of critical species is another big objective of ours. And we're thrilled we are the proud protectors of many endangered species on our land, such as jaguars and black caiman, anacondas, tapirs, anteaters. We have cedar trees on our land that have been logged to extinction in most parts of the Amazon rainforest. We have ironwood trees that are almost extinct, and we care for over 400 Brazil nut trees, which are the giants of the rainforest. These trees tower over all the other trees, and they live for at least 500 years. Some scientists believe they can even live for 1,000 years. They're just incredible trees. And the rainforest communities can harvest them for their nuts in a sustainable way. So it also provides income to the rainforest people. And the Brazil nut trees only produce good yields in undisturbed forests. So it's a very good incentive for the people to leave these areas alone. And another area that we're focusing on is research and education. And we would really like to build a proper research center so we can have students and scientists from around the world come to our land and work together on conservation and education and research projects. So that's sort of what we're doing right now, and we have plans for the future as well.
It sounds like a paradise. It sounds beautiful down there.
It's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible. Unfortunately, when we first purchased our first piece of land in 2014, there were very few gold miners in the area. But the government has been cracking down as of late. And I think one of the reasons is the new governor of the region. The previous governor was a gold miner. The new governor is a doctor, and he is interested in dealing with the gold mining problem. So the biggest illegal gold mining camp, it's called La Pampa, and it's about an hour from the town, Puerto Maldonado, where we have our office. And it was huge, just a shanty town, probably 25,000 illegal miners and their families, child prostitution and murders every day. Anyhow, earlier this year, the government sent in the army and the police, and they dynamited all the machinery. They burned the town down. They basically wiped it off the map, which was great. But the bad news is all those gold miners have dispersed now to other areas, and we're finding some of them are coming up to where we are. So there's a lot more gold miners where we are. And initially, we were trying to figure out what we could do to kind of stop them. And I don't think we can't stop them because they don't have any alternatives. There's no other jobs. So what I'm hoping we could do is convince some of them to stop gold mining and join us and become forest rangers on our land. And we'd have to pay them higher than market because gold miners can make a lot of money. But the reason that they would even consider this is that we would offer them a fixed salary, where with the gold mining, some weeks can be fabulous and some weeks are not so good. The other thing we would do is that we would pay for healthcare for them and their families. The Peruvian government doesn't do that right now. So a lot of people can't afford to get medical care. Going to the dentist is a luxury. So we would cover health and dental benefits. And another thing we would do is pay for the education of their children. And again, Peru doesn't cover education. So a lot of people down there can't even afford to send their children to school. So if we had a big enough forest ranger program, we could actually even build a little school in our area and bring a teacher for the children of the families of these forest rangers. So that's what we're really hoping that we can make happen in the next few years.
So how many, just out of curiosity, how many people does it take to manage an area the size of 3,500 hectares? Like how many rangers on the ground do you have to employ?
It's 3,500 acres. It's 1,416 hectares. So I know acres better, but anyhow,
sure.
We haven't determined the exact number right now. Right now, our budget has allowed us to hire 2 forest rangers, which is nowhere near enough. So we're also raising money to increase that. And especially if we increase our land holdings, we'll need to increase our forest ranger program. But yeah, I'm not sure. That's something that we have to determine, because we have to figure out how much territory one forest ranger can cover in a day. It's also maintaining the trails too, the trail system, because as you know, in the Amazon, everything grows so quickly. So.
Okay, so the money that we bring in is going to help ARC with the forest management. It's going to help perhaps purchase new lands. You have seen an outpouring of support from various donors over the past few weeks, have you not?
Yes, it's been incredible because of the media attention on the fires in Brazil. There's been widespread awareness, and people are starting to notice us and want to get involved and support us. And it's funny because even just a few years ago, when people would ask me, what are you doing? And I would tell them, about ARC, they would say, well, why are you doing that down there? Like, who cares? Well, you should be saving forests in Canada. And, I tried to explain that the Amazon rainforest, everybody's heard it's the lungs of the planet, and that 20% of our oxygen comes from down there. But now people are starting to realize that the Amazon rainforest plays a key role in the basic functioning of our planet, and that mitigating climate change is one of the easiest ways, protecting the Amazon rainforest is one of the easiest ways to mitigate climate change. And again, climate change was sort of a controversial term when I started ARC, but now everybody realizes that it is affecting the health and the economies and the families of people around the world. So people are finally starting to get it, and the support has been amazing, just amazing.
Well, that's great to hear, Jana. I'm really happy that people are starting to wake up and starting to recognize this problem and are actually putting their money where their mouth is. So we're going to do our best to access our own Soltara community, and we're also going to match the funding that our community puts up with actual Soltara funds. And that said, this interview will be published online, and people will be able to see it above and beyond our in-house fundraising campaign. So they can reach out to you and donate directly to ARC. And how would they go about getting in contact or donating?
Yeah, we have a website. AmazonRainforestConservancy.com, and you can donate right on the website. You can contact me directly through the website. So we've tried to make it really easy for people. And if you have questions, if you're deciding, you know, I'm not sure I want to donate to ARC, I have a few questions, then please feel free to email me any questions. We are open and transparent. So, yeah, that's basically what people can do.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for making the time today. Again, good luck with everything over there. And yeah, I guess we'll be in touch very shortly. And hopefully we can help get those new park rangers on the salary.
That's terrific. Thank you so much, Dan.
Okay. All the best, Jana.
You too.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.